when you walk past your
Yeah.
shopping mall, right? Then
You
got
turn
credit card
around.
they will lock eye with the credit card person. The person lock eye with you. Then he come to you. Then you look
Yeah.
away. Then he come chase you.
Yeah.
Then I say, oh sorry, I'm still student.
Yes.
I'm still student.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Connecting the Dots, where we unravel the complexities of real estate in Malaysia. I'm your host, my name is Joanne, and today we have a guest with us. Allow me to introduce him. He is one of our youngest and I would say the most handsome chap in our team. He is right now closing deals all across Petaling Jaya. And the reason why I want to invite him as a guest is because I really feel he has a story to share with us today. So let us welcome Max.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Joanne. Thank you so much for inviting me to this podcast. Really appreciate the invite.
Yes, so maybe Max, you can tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from? Where you based? Maybe also how much is your bank account?
Okay, so where I'm from, I grew up in KL. So Sri Petaling is where my family grew up in. And my focus area in terms of real estate, I focus primarily in Petaling Jaya, landed property specifically. And the deals that I've been closing is around Damansara Kim as well as your SS2 area.
Right.
Yeah.
So before you were doing real estate, what were you doing? Like, tell us a little bit about your education background, maybe a little bit of your upbringing.
Right. Education background. Okay, primary school, I went to a Chinese primary school.
Okay.
But all my education I gave back to my teacher already, because right now I'm kind of like a banana. So even though I went to primary school for 6 years, conversely I can speak Mandarin, but I can't really hold a long conversation. So long can sell property, I think good enough already.
Okay.
Then secondary school I went to an international school. So that's where it kind of solidified my banana-ness to make sure I'm all inside everything all white, everything English. And in the uni I did law in Reapfield Asia College for 2 years, and then my final year I've completed my degree in University of Northumbria.
So what I hear is you did have a little bit of Mandarin education in that sense. 会讲华语。
会 order 食物。
Okay, 会 order
know
食物。
how to order food. I think that's primarily the main reason why it's good.
And then you actually did Bachelor of Laws, right?
Yeah.
So what inspired you to be a lawyer?
Oh, okay. So I believe like this was back in secondary school. In secondary school, I've joined a lot of. I love debating. So I think during history class, or even debate class, we tend to, form into groups and then form your opinion, try to fight for your cause. And I really enjoyed that.
Right.
And because of that, I think I really went into Model United Nations, which is a club that represents your country, represents a country to fight for their policies in their in the United Nations.
Okay.
Right. So that is more of like a mock-up. So that's why they call it a Model United Nations. So I really enjoy debating and really enjoy speaking and advocacy to be specifically. So from there, when my parents asked me, so what do you want to do after you graduate? So that was my number one passion. I was saying, potentially I can do something related to law. But I also have a second passion. So growing up, I love to eat food. I love a lot of food. My aunt cooked very delicious meal.
Yeah.
So I'm actually very inspired. I wanted to be a chef as well, like her, and make very, very nice meals throughout Malaysia.
So what's your favorite cuisine?
Oh, I love to make Italian cuisine, everything handmade from scratch.
Okay.
So I presented two choices to my parents actually, right? So I say, hey parents, which one should I take? Should I go for law or culinary arts? So typical Chinese Asian parents will be like, oh, actually law not bad. I think you go for law, maybe law would be a good option. So then that kind of like skewed my direction towards pursuing a career in law. But then it unraveled to where I am today, which we can get to later.
So now looking in hindsight, did you feel that by you choosing law as a degree, just because you have a passion in debates and advocacy, do you still think that is a good reason enough for the young people nowadays that I really enjoy debate and then I want to study law? How do you?
Yeah, so I think like when I went into my first year, even though I did my A-levels in law and then went to first, second, third year, it is so much different. Everything is not like especially in Malaysia,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of advocacy training. Primarily, everything is about memorizing
Correct.
the primary law, the
Correct.
secondary law, and understanding the right procedure. So
Yeah.
it has to be quite logical when you do
Okay.
law in Malaysia.
Okay.
I would say the advocacy part is only 10 to 15% of
Right.
what it takes to be a good litigation lawyer, because there are a lot of other avenue in the legal industry
That's right.
where you don't have to even advocate. You
Yeah.
can just be a conveyancing lawyer
Yes.
as well. So after joining the industry, really it really opened up my eyes
Yeah.
and to realize that this may not be really something that I really enjoy, but I'm already halfway through. Since my parents already pay for it,
Yeah.
might as well finish it through.
Yeah.
At least I have a degree and I'll be able to use that degree to go into other fields
Right.
if needed to as well. Yeah.
What about your culinary arts passion?
Oh,
Like, what do you do with it now? With
What
this
I-
passion, are you still passionate about food?
I am still passionate about food, but not as a career.
Yeah.
I tend to cook at home with my wife, so I think
Yeah.
those are kind of like some of the wind down periods that
Yeah.
I tend to do. I even cook for the team as well.
Yes, you did.
So that
Yeah.
can share the love through
Yes.
food. Sometimes I believe in Malaysia, food is the one
Yeah.
that really connects.
Yeah.
Not only connect each other, but also connect the dots, right? Like
Correct.
this podcast.
Correct. That's right. So then, right now, you are a real estate agent.
Yep.
So you graduated as a law graduate.
Mm.
Did you pursue any professional certificate after that, or you straight away just, didn't pursue law anymore?
Yeah. So when I completed my bachelor in law, the advice that was given to me was that, actually, why not finish your certificate of legal practice,
Yeah.
your CLP?
That's
so
right.
for the benefit for those who are listening, in order for you to practice law in Malaysia, you need to have either your CLP or your bar qualification
Correct.
from either the UK.
Yeah.
Then after that, then you only get to call to do your chambering, and then after your chambering, you get to be called to the bar. So
Yeah.
that's the full process,
Which I went through it.
which I believe you went through as well, right?
Yes.
And so the next step for me was to do my CLP, my Certified Legal Practice. And the advice that I was given by all the wise people
Yeah.
around is that actually, why not finish it, right? Finish it, get your CLP certificate,
Okay.
so that in the future you may regret
option.
not taking it,
Okay.
right? The idea is that for me to have it as a safety, if I want to revert back to a legal line, at least that's an
Yeah.
option. Because
That's
once I
right.
have a family,
Yes.
kids, then it will be very difficult to go back into to study for your
Yeah.
CLP and
Yeah.
going forth to the educational route
Yeah.
again.
Correct.
So I did my CLP. Unfortunately, it was during the time of COVID.
Oh.
So by right, supposedly CLP is supposed to finish within 8 to 9 months,
Yes,
right? Then you
correct.
go for your CLP
Yeah.
exam. But it happened in the midst of COVID, and it really dragged on for like 2 years before my exam came.
Okay.
So by the time it came out, and then during the midst of COVID, we're like, oh, when's the exam? Is the exam coming out? Do I need to study? Do I
Yeah.
need to study?
Yeah.
So after finishing the CLP exam, I didn't really pass. So I decided, maybe I should transition into something different. And again, passion-wise, it's not really there anymore. It's just wanting to get it over
Yeah.
with.
Finish it.
Finish it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get it done. But in my opinion, I felt that at the time, it was a different season already. And I felt it was time to go into the marketplace, specifically more towards the corporate side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then again, how did you ended up in real estate?
Okay. So, right after I've finished my CLP, I actually did my first ever job in a social enterprise called Leaderonomics.
Right.
So in Leaderonomics basically is a leadership development company that provides leadership education for youths in Malaysia, but they have two separate departments. One is for youths in Malaysia, and the other is for corporate companies, so corporate training
Yeah.
for corporate companies. So I was, my role was pretty much the business development person for the social enterprise arm for the youth of Malaysia,
Right.
leadership development training for the youth of Malaysia. So from there, I kind of like build up my skill sets in terms of sale, because my role at the time was to get in a lot of corporate clients, like let's say for example like Hapsing or Toyota, to kind of get like sponsorship for their CSR programs, and how can we leverage on their sponsorship to provide that level of education that the Malaysian youth
Right.
needed at the time.
So actually, you're
Yeah.
selling, you're pitching to big corporate companies,
Yeah.
So that they will deploy funds
Yep.
to actually, as a CSR program for the company,
Yeah.
to fund the youths.
Fund the youth. So generally in all most corporate companies
Yeah.
out there, they have a CSR arm.
Sure.
Or they're trying to go for they're trying to raise their points for their ESG score. Right, in
Correct.
every public listed company, all of them would have their ESG score.
Correct.
Yes, it means environmental, social, and governance. So this kind of tackle more towards the social aspects and
Okay.
how we can actually help them boost their ESG
Yeah.
score by running all these programs for them lah. And this kind of brings out a win-win situation for them. They get to sponsor specific camps or specific
Yeah.
programs that really help people that they are trying to integrate with their business. So, for
Yeah.
example, let's say we had a highway construction company.
Yeah.
So what that was a sponsor. So what we did was that we gathered schools that were around highways.
Okay.
So those were like kind of affected or was helped by this corporate company, and we run a 3 days virtual camp for them as well. So it kind of like impact the people that kind of like benefit from this initiative as well.
Right.
So
Wow.
Yeah.
So I really like that. What I can see is I think you really like to deal with people.
Yeah.
Like you're very relational. And I think when you were in Literonomics, you also like to see the impact of the
Yeah.
things that you're
Yeah.
doing. And then now you're in real estate, right? So what actually, how did you discover? Is
Yeah.
it an interest? Did
Yeah.
you start as an interest first?
So let's backtrack a little bit.
Yeah.
So before I did my final year of my degree in, oh no, actually no, this is after I finished my final year of my degree in the
Okay.
University of
Yeah.
Northumbria. So I had a gap before I did my CLP. So I was thinking like, maybe perhaps this is the right time to explore
Yeah.
the real estate industry.
Yes.
But what really piqued my interest was that beforehand I did an internship.
Okay.
Right, an internship. So I did an internship in a small litigation law firm.
Okay.
And basically, my role as an intern was to follow the partner around on all their court cases.
Okay.
And he's at the time I was like, wow, this guy drive big car, Mercedes, big
yeah.
house. Actually, no, he got 2 different Mercedes. And then sometimes he let me drive his Mercedes because
Okay.
sometimes he's late for his court
Yeah.
case. He said, hey, Max, can you let me drive? So, looking at his success, I asked him this question. So my question to him was, actually, what do you invest? What do you invest your money in? Because as a young
Yeah.
16, 17-year-old, haven't graduated yet,
Yeah.
I want to plan off my future to get financial
Yeah,
freedom at the
of
time.
course.
So I asked him, what do you invest in? And he said that, I have a book for you, Max, and I want you to read it, and you
Okay.
tell me what you think about that. So he gave me this book, and the book was Rich Dad, Poor Dad
Okay.
by Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
So I read that book. I finished the book in 2 days, and I was really, really inspired.
Right.
That really propped my interest. That hey, being in a property investment in the future would be something that I may be interested in, and I'm kind of excited for that. And that kind of started off my interest. When I went to the UK,
Yeah.
I was intentional to seek out mentors in property investment.
I
So
see.
when I was there as well, I've reached out to people around my
Yeah.
circle, or wise people around, and they actually brought me in and say, oh, you follow me and I'll show you the ropes in the UK. So it's very interesting to journey with that.
Yeah.
So when I came back from the UK, gotten my degree, that's where I decided during my gap, before I did my CLP, to kind of explore real estate by doing an internship. So actually, I interned in Reapfield
Right.
prior to me joining
Nice,
Reapfield as an
nice.
agent.
Yeah.
So I was an intern. I was actually an intern for 6 months. Right, and then within that 6 months, I was given many opportunities to look into project marketing as well as secondary market. So I get to observe a lot of things go on the background, the back end, and what does a real estate agent do to kind of solidify my understanding of the property industry.
Yeah.
So that really transitioned for me, being into this property industry. But the reason why I came back as well is because when I went into Literonomics, I was in a social enterprise, and back at the time, as a social enterprise, you don't really get paid a lot, right? But you have a lot of fulfillment in
Yes.
the impact
The
that has
work,
been
yeah.
done, right? In the impact and the work. So for me, I felt that perhaps it's a season of my time to kind of transition into something different, because in down the line, because for context, I'm married for the 2 years, and eventually down the line we may want to plan to have kids,
Yeah.
married, buy a house. So I believe if I go in with the trajectory of what I'm doing in my company, I won't be able to achieve that goal of being able to provide to a certain extent. But I would say me being in leaderonomics for 2 years has really taught me a lot about business development, creating a pipeline. How do you really generate sales? So that was I believe that was my first ever training ground in how do you conduct sales in a more professional setting, especially being able to converse with all the corporate clients, right? So from there, as I transition out, the advice then after that I was like, okay, who can I seek for advice again? And I've actually talked to people like David Ong. And David Ong mentioned that, and I asked him the same question, actually, how do you invest your money? And then he said, actually, Max, what's the best type of investment that I've actually can give you? The best type of investment I can give is life on life investment, right? Invest in people. And that is what I've been doing for the past couple of years. And not only him, I met up with a couple more people who are also in the real estate industry and asking them, hey, how has it been in the real estate? Tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So that I'm informed to jump into this without any blindsided in mind. Because sometimes when people jump into the industry thinking, I'm going to make a lot of money, without thinking of the fact that for the first 6, 7, or 8 months, you may not draw any salary. But after conversing with multiple people within my church group, that really helped me open up my eyes to say, why not explore real estate? And the first person that I really need to get the consent from was actually my wife. And my wife was very supportive in this transition. And I'm really, really grateful for her.
Shout out to Carol.
shout out to my wife, Carol. If you're listening to this later.
So just wondering, right, for all this transition that you have gone through, I think pretty much quite many transition for a young person like you, right? Just wondering, like, the feelings that you were having during each transition. Do you feel that the level of fear is the same, the level of anxiety is the same, or do you feel that each transition you have become more mature and more, I would say, informed to make that decision to switch, whether it's a career, whether is it getting married during COVID, after COVID that you were married, or during COVID?
After COVID.
This kind of decision, just wondering, like, how do you develop? How have you been developing yourself through the transitions? So I think one thing that is consistent, that is change. There's going to be a lot of changes in my life. And with change comes uncertainty, and with uncertainty, there's a lot of fear because you don't know. There's a lot of unknown that is coming up ahead in our life. So for me, because I'm a Christian, so I go to church, and I tend to surrender all this uncertainty and fears to God. Like God, I leave it up to you. Right? You have the plan. I'm just here to follow your plan. And by really surrender that, it really elevates my fear, knowing that I'm not in control in any and every aspect of my life. And because of that, it gives me a lot of peace. Transitioning from marriage to working in the social enterprise and coming into real estate. And in fact, being in the real estate industry provides more uncertainty, because when I was in leaderonomics, I have a stable income. Stable meaning that every month I can draw a salary, and my salary will go to an EPF, like the 9 to 5. You work and come back, then every month you get a salary. Very predictable. Whereas coming into the real estate industry, it's very, very unpredictable, and you really need to have, for me, I really need to have a lot of faith to be able to be in this industry, because especially for the first 4-5 months when I was in the industry, I wasn't really drawing a salary. And I thank God that my wife is. So we kind of live simple so that we can get by the month to month. Course.
And in that living of simple, we kind of like, think actually we can adopt based on the lifestyle, right? If you can survive on one person's income, actually anything income that comes in from closing or sale is a bonus already. But we also still want to build that pipeline.
Of course. So what was your biggest challenge starting out as a rookie? We call it in the real estate industry. What was your biggest challenge?
I'll say the number one challenge is that me being in the real estate industry as a rookie is that I don't know a lot of things, right? Coming into it, I don't even know where to start.
Yeah.
How do I get listings? How do I get buyer? How do I craft my script to call, do your cold calling?
Yes.
How do you even do your closing well? How do you negotiate to a certain extent, or high level negotiator does? So there's a lot of I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know this and I don't know that, and I feel like the best way to remedy that is to find people who know, right? And I tend to surround myself with people who are very expert in the industry, and I ask a lot of questions, right? If I don't ask questions, I myself also wouldn't know. And one thing that really helped me in this industry is that when I joined a team, right? J-Dot was one of the team, and it allows me to be in an environment where I can learn a lot very fast, because I was roped into meetings, I was roped into viewing appointments, I was roped into negotiation. So my first stage was observe as much as I can. And I've learned a lot from Anita, Jonathan, who has been in the industry for combined more than 20 years already, I believe. More than 20 years. So with the limited time that I have to learn to be able to be in the extent to close deals consistently, I have to learn very quickly. So in this environment, I really enjoyed it because I've learned a lot. And one thing I really enjoyed most during the learning process is also role-playing sessions. Like Jonathan sometimes will meet up with me on my one-on-one, and then he'll be like, okay, Max, here's a scenario, right? What will you respond in a certain scenario? Then I was like, okay, I think I'll respond like this. And then after that, I do have very valuable feedback from Jonathan. So then from there, it kind of improved as I go. So when I went to doing my own viewing appointment, my own negotiation, it translates into that, and that really helped me in my industry.
So I'm just curious, right? So what were the attitude or mindset that you were carrying as a rookie? I understand that you said you want to learn as much as possible so that you can perform at your best in the shortest time possible. Then my question is also that you change, or in a sense you switch career because you felt that real estate is able to be the means for you to become a provider for your family, right? To achieve your dreams and whatnot. So I'm just curious that with the desire to earn as much as possible, and yet you have the desire to learn, do you sometimes feel that you were impatient to see your first deal coming because the first deal hasn't come yet? What was your attitude or your mindset during those, I would say, the tension? Want to earn as much as possible, but then you also know that you have to learn, and you also know that your bank account is depleting. That kind of tension. Share with us a little bit.
So I think attitude definitely that I have to put on is the attitude of humility. Right? To know that I don't know a lot of things, and I need to, and I know people who knows a lot of things, and I'm here to listen to them. Not to say that, actually I think I feel this one could be better, but I haven't even closed the deals myself. How can I be in a position to input anything if I myself is not an expert in the industry? So I really listen to what the expert have to say. And as you say, it's really spot on. I really have to learn before I earn, but then before I earn, there was that tension. How do I really try to get my first deal in, and I really want to get my first deal in, right? I think because of the structure of my team that provides a clear step to step, right? If you do this, you get this amount of leads. If you call this many people, you get this amount of listings. And for me, just trusting in the team, being in an environment where a structure is already provided. So following step 1, then you can have step 2, then step 2 you can have step 3. So I really put a lot of faith in the team as well. So I think for me was that just do.
That's
right.
Good.
Not only humility, but just do. And do to the best that I can do. And when I do to the best that I can do, the result will eventually show up because of consistency.
So do you agree that if I put it that way, that systems and step by step strategies actually help you to, in a sense, maybe elevate some fears in you that, hey, when was my first deal coming?
Yeah.
Then you'll be like, okay, it's okay. I'll just go back to basic. John told me to do this. Joanne told me to do that. Okay, if I do that, the sale will eventually come lah.
Yeah.
Like, does it help you as a rookie?
It definitely helped me because
Right.
as a rookie, again, I don't know where to start,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So being able to provide that structure, I think also in Reapfield when they provide the Ignite training,
Correct.
that also really helped in terms of where to start. And they always say, lead generation is the prime core business of your business.
Yeah.
If you're not in the lead gen business, we cannot even get in any
Correct.
listings.
Correct.
So even to get in listings, like even when I came in, I have a couple of SOIs. Means SOI meaning sphere of influence, people that I'm close to, or people that I know. That found out, hey, you're in the real estate industry, why not try to sell my house or sell my condo? So then my process is, okay, how do I get this person to sign with me and I don't know, maybe get an exclusive or 3%. And me as a rookie agent is like, coming in, imagine I come to hey, Mr. Seller, I'm a new, but I want 3% and exclusive.
Yes.
Can you give me? Definitely not, right? So what are the additional value that I can bring that justify that 3% and justify that exclusivity? And with the team support, I can come in and I can come confident and say, it's not only me you're hiring. You're hiring the team as well. And this is what the team can provide to you. And I think that's a huge value for being in a mega team and at such early stage.
And also, this is out of the topic, it's just mainly a question that popped out in my head was, have you ever felt ashamed being a real estate agent? Why I say that is, I mean, you were a law graduate. You could have been a lawyer. And we all know that the prestige and the glam that comes with a lawyer title. I mean, I've been through that. And then now you are like a fully commission earner, real estate agent. Some even call it like a broker lah. Like, have you ever felt ashamed of being an agent?
Okay. I'll say there's different categories of agents, right? There are certain agents that there are different types. Like, say, for example, there are agents that do project marketing. And in project marketing, so a lot of people associate property agent with insurance agent or even MLM salesman, right? And that's where sometimes I as a property agent, I don't want to be associated with people who just trying to meet up with friends and try to push their product to them. But for me, it's like, if my clients have a property that they want to sell and I can help them with that, I'm actually very proud that, hey, I'm a real estate agent. Can I help you sell your property? But if, let's say, for example, I'm like those, not say those, but there are in project marketing, there is also when you do a roadshow. So you have to go out, hand off flyers, say, hey, take my property, right? So with that, people may be like, oh, hey, property agent, all like that one. Right.
And you want to avoid them.
I want to avoid them. So when I see them, you want to run away. Same thing like credit card salesman. When you walk past your shopping mall, right? Then got credit card salesman. They will lock eye with the credit card person. The person lock eye with you. Then he come to you. Then you look away. Then he come chase you. Then I say, oh, sorry, I'm still student. Right. So I would say there is different level. There's a difference between different category of agents, right? And being in the category that I am, which is focusing on selling landed properties for in the secondary market, is where I'm like, hey, I am a property agent, and this is what I'm doing in my market. In fact, to a certain extent, I'm kind of proud that I am a property agent. What's wrong with that? Because when I meet up with friends, I won't be like, hey, you want to buy so and so much. Because if let's say they want to buy and they ask me, hey, you're a property agent. I'm actually looking for a house rental. I say, oh, how can I help you? Rather than I go up to them and say, hey, you're at the age you want to buy a house. How can you find my house? Right? So it's just a posture lah. It's just more of like, instead of pushing a product at that person, it's about understanding the needs of the person as well.
I'm really glad to hear that you actually take pride in what you do, because I think some people may feel that is from a potential lawyer that you could be and then now be a real estate agent. It's like I don't know, maybe the public spectacle it's a demotion, something that you could have been like, wow, high and mighty out there. Then you're like, just an agent that, a lot of people can do it.
But perhaps maybe I can ask you the same question, because you yourself were a lawyer, right? And you stepped down from that prestige title and then became a real estate agent. Do you feel the same as well?
The reason why I didn't feel the same way is because I felt very clearly in me that I didn't want to open up my own law firm in that sense. Okay, why I say that is, I think there's something in me that all this while I really wanted to build something from scratch.
Yep.
It's just a desire that maybe I want to start a business of my own and things like that. So I know that eventually, if I still stay in law, which I didn't mind doing law, I don't think I have the desire to open up my own law firm or sole prop.
Okay.
Why I say that is because if I go down that route of opening a law firm by myself, I probably will not be able to get cases where corporate clients engage with, like the big M&A cases,
Yep.
corporate litigation, and stuff like that.
Yep.
So, but I am more interested to deal with cases as such. And I know that sole prop is going to be very challenging to get clients, the big corporate clients.
Yep.
So then I know that, okay, maybe doing business in the legal fraternity is not very possible for me. Yeah, so to me, it's like, okay, I wanted to start something, start a business or whatnot. And then I did. I went to open a confinement center, right?
Oh.
So yeah, so I did kind of like meddle into something that I can build from scratch.
Yep.
So even though the public perception would say that, your parents pay so much, you go UK 3 years, come back, you didn't continue to practice law, what a waste of money, what a waste of potential. But I guess those voices that we hear, didn't really, I think, same like you, it won't really affect us so much is because we really were well informed why we go into this industry, and we know that the work that we do is very fulfilling as well, and we do take pride in it. I think that's why I didn't feel how the others feel, like it's a demotion kind of thing.
And I think echoing from that also is that I am actually very grateful for my parents to be very understanding for me to be able to transition out from the legal field into real estate, because there are many other people out there that say like, wow, if I was your parents, I'll be so angry at you, man. And
disown you.
They disown you, and you waste so much of my money sending you overseas. But I feel my rationale is always the same as like my experience in law. Getting a law degree is not discounted because it's the experience of being able to get a law degree, and the that really the training that we went through, and that really translate into being in the workplace, right? So when I went to leaderonomics, right? So when they look at my law degree and then I say, oh, this is what I've been doing, it kind of helps me secure even a position in a corporate company such as that, and it's never for wasted. Everyone always say wasted. You could have earned so much more if you're a lawyer, you're gonna be earning big bucks, right? But that's also not the case in the Malaysian legal industry, because as we know that there's an oversupply of lawyers in Malaysia due to a lot of institutions.
It's very competitive as well.
Very, very competitive. And my rationale is that you only can make money in the legal industry or as a lawyer if you're a partner. But if you're like an associate, senior associate, even in big law firms, like there is always a cap until you reach the junior partnership track or even senior partner.
Yeah, correct. Okay, let's switch gear back to real estate.
Okay.
I'm just very excited. I want to really hear, how did you close your first deal? I know it's a hell of a story.
It's a very, very interesting story. So let's start from the beginning. For me, I had the listing I got was from one of my SOI, one of my close friend, and it was a rental case. Okay. Right. So it was a rental case, and I put it in the market for a couple of months. Right. So within it being up in the market, it was priced right.
Okay.
And when we gotten more viewings in, so then that's where we've managed to find let's say the first person that came in and say like, oh, I really like this place, and I said, oh, if you like the place an offer. Then they were saying that, oh, actually I can't only stay here for 1 year. I need to stay for at least 2 years. But the condition that was placed by the seller is that this is going to just be a 1 year tenancy.
Okay.
So after back and forth, then they decided not to pursue with this. So then more people coming in have a lot of property, and then they decided it's not for them, and there was a lot of rejection early on. So I was like, wow, I keep coming in, I drive in, drive out, open house, open door, understand the area a little bit, and then just to see the house for 10 minutes, and then they say no. So it's like 1 hour of prep work every time I go in and out. It's all gone, right? But there was one, and after that, towards the end, then there was a person that really loved the house, and she was looking at multiple options. But then after that, she decided to, you know what, I like your place the most, and then they decided to sign the deal. So so from my experience for this deal, I can't disclose much, because it's still ongoing.
Yes.
Right. But ended up it became a disaster lah.
Yeah.
Even though we closed the deal, managed to secure the tenancy, but down the line there was a lot of like troubles or I would say demands and
unreasonable
demands that came out from the tenant. And I, as an agent, I still want to journey the best for my SOI and my client lah. So I say, you know, how can I help? So until today, it is still an ongoing struggle. I will just put it at there for now. It almost made me want to leave real estate, to be honest, because being the first deal after 4 months of not like closing any deals. And even until today, 1 year later, the problems still arise. It really demotivates. But I'm really thankful for the team to be able to bear the brunt of the burden together. So it's not just me, trying to solve all these issues together, but I can go through this with a team. And how can we like come up with the best possible solution?
I hope that when the case is settled, I will definitely invite you back.
Yes, when the
to
case is
share
settled, I can
the
share
details of
everything
the story
from beginning to end. But now it's just I can't talk about.
We can just say that it's not a pleasant story. It's definitely quite unreasonable tenant, and I think right now we just want to journey with the landlord to hopefully get a good closure for this case lah. Right, maybe the last question I have for you is, as a relatively new real estate agent, for those who are looking to actually embark into this this journey, what would be your advice?
Okay, I think number one is to talk to people that is in the industry, right? Before you make any decision, you must know the fact lah, right? The fact that, you know, if you close a $1 million deal, doesn't mean you get like 30,000. Right. Even from that commission, you get cut from the agency, and then from within that cut, you need to manage it in terms of how do you expand for your marketing, and how can it like last for the remaining years. So talking to someone who is an expert or who has been in the industry long enough to kind of give you the ins and out, right? And I think consult your close one just because they know you best. And for me, I also pray to indicate, you know, whether is this something that, you know, God really wants me to be in this season of my life. And I had that peace so that's where I ended up deciding coming into this industry. So after you learn as much about the industry before you enter, then when you come in, you learn even more. Because even for me myself, being in this industry for 1 year, I'm still learning. There's so much more that I've yet to learn. And I think it's just still a learning journey. Even I feel like those people who have been in the industry for 10, 20 years, they also have many
me
more
myself has so much more to learn in this industry. So in full honesty, would you have changed anything, the decision that you have made so far in your life? Would you have changed anything that you have landed here in this spot, in this team, in this career? In full honesty.
In full honesty, would I change anything? I would like to be the person that say that, you know, everything happened for a reason. Right. So even until today, there's a lot of things that's uncertain. So I'm actually just enjoying the ride right now. There's nothing I would change. To answer your question, there's nothing I would change, and I would go through, like, even the trouble tenant case, right? It's a learning journey for me, because when I do a tenancy case, I know what the pitfall to look out for, like, because a lot of people would ask, like, what's better, a tenant with a bad attitude, bad character but can pay, or good character but pay lesser? I would tend to go towards the tenant which have the latter, better character, can pay, but you lower the price. You just it's better to have a good tenant than a bad tenant. I think that's pretty much it. Even at the cheaper price, I rather not think about all the problems and troubles that comes after that.
Correct. Saves you so much of inconvenience, your time, the hassles and things like that.
Because really you will lose out on a lot of time if you find a bad tenant and you have to solve the problem for the
How
landlord.
many months it has been? When you first closed this deal until today, it's still giving you so much headache.
I think it's already almost close to a year already. It's
Wow.
been 10 to 11 months.
Wow,
But,
that's crazy.
You know, I mean, we pull through. While there's ongoing, life still goes on. And I'll still have to, close more deals to survive. And with all the closing that I've done, I really it couldn't be done so without the support of the team. So really thank you for the opportunity. I mean, to be part of this amazing team.
I think lastly, really just want to appreciate you, Max, for really believing in the team structure, the team strategy, and even the direction that we're now taking forward. And what I really like about you is really your faith. That's number one. I can see that you really put God first, and you really do include Him in everything that you do. The major decisions that you make, even coming in here without knowing much, you decided to take the dive with us. And looking at you right now, I feel that you have matured so much compared to how you dealt with your first few SOI leads and until today. I really very proud of you. And I do know that clients like you, because you're so relational, you empathize so much with them. I think that's really one of the key things when we engage agents. We really need agents to trust us, that can lead us towards a fruitful goal or a fruitful closure or conclusion. And I think that is the beauty of you having those traits. So yes, that wraps up for today's episode of Connecting the Dots. We hope you enjoyed our conversation with Max and found his insights helpful. If you like this episode, do remember to like us, follow us and subscribe us. And if you do want to know about other topics, feel free to just drop in your comments. We will try to arrange and line up as many guests as possible to make this podcast educational or value added to you. So that's it. Thank you so much, Max.
Thank you so much, Joanne.
All
Truly
right.
appreciate it.
See you next one. Bye.
Bye.